Nona Edwards. I'm here today interviewing Scott Janander, the head coach of the Ravens men's basketball team here at San Jacinto College.
Well, it's funny. Actually, I'm from Minnesota and kind of grew up playing all sports, but hockey was the thing I did in the summer, or in the winter time, and really didn't play basketball until I think I got into junior high, and kind of started fooling around with it, and liked it. My whole family was hockey, and finally in high school I had to decide which way to go, and I was almost like the black sheep of the family. I chose basketball, and really, like in college I played both basketball and football, and really wasn't sure, I wanted to go into coaching. I've always wanted to, and it just happened that the first job offer I had was to be the head basketball coach at a high school. And I might have gone football. If my first offer had been football, that might have been the way I went, but my first job offer was at basketball at a real good basketball school, and so that kind of started me in my coaching career in basketball. Really loved was Oscar Robertson. I had pictures of him on my wall. He had this funny jump shot with one hand. I used to copy that. But I was like all kids, you were just really, professional athletes, you really kind of gravitated to them and really idolized them. I moved from Minnesota to Texas in 1977, and the first job I had here was at South Houston High School. I coached for 2 years over there, and actually got the head job at LaPorte High School, and had moved down there, was all set to coach at LaPorte, but then the assistant basketball position at San Jacinto opened up in 1980. And I was actually assistant coach for 7 years, 1980 to 1987, and it was a great time. Ronnie Arrow was the head coach then, and he had been here for a few years, and I mean it was a big transition. I'd been recruiting Sam for actually a couple of years before he came here. A friend of mine had led me on to Sam, and so he came here in '89, and he was a great player for us. But at the time, you don't say, "Wow, he's going to be a heck of a pro," because he went from here to Florida State in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So your big thing is how good is he going to be in the Atlantic Coast Conference? Is he going to be able to make it there? And he had a great career there, and then went on to the NBA. And I've always been proud that Sam's always stayed close to us. Steve was a little bit different. When Steve came in, he was kind of an unknown. In his first year, it took about half a year before all of a sudden you start realizing, how good Steve was. And then went from here to Maryland and became a number 2 draft pick in the NBA. So it was great coaching him here. But at the time they're 18, 19-year-old kids, and but they were both not only great players, they were real good people to coach. You always hear that saying, you just move one chair over, and instead of making suggestions, you're making decisions. What made it easy for me, I think, making that decision was having Coach Horseman. He came in with me my first year, and it was great having him because he was one of those people that what I always liked about Coach Horseman, he wasn't just a yes man. He didn't just tell you what you wanted to hear. He made a lot of suggestions, and he'd been around sports all his life, and he has a real good basketball mind. So that made it a lot easier for me having someone like him, under my stand. I just finished my 22nd year, and I always remember in '89 was the first team that I took to the national tournament, and I always thought that was a special thing. I'd been 4 times as assistant coach, but that first time when I took a team to nationals, that was a big thing for me. I guess it was 2001. We had a team that was just very mediocre during the year. I think we finished 14-8 in the conference. The last home game we got beat by about 15 points, on our home floor. And then we were hosting the region tournament to go to nationals that year, and it just, we were about that team of all teams was the last team that I ever thought. And all of a sudden, in the first game of the regionals, we just played great and won. We won the second game big, and then in the championship game, we won to go to nationals. And I thought, well, at least we made it. We probably won't do much when we're up there, because we just had that type of team that had lost a lot of games and nobody thought much of. And all of a sudden we got to the national in our first game, had a big win over the defending champs, I think in the second or third game, I can't remember which, and all of a sudden this team was playing for the national championship. game, and finally Southeastern Iowa beat us for the championship right at the end, I think by about 6 or 8 points. A team that nobody expected to do much, and we went all the way to play for the national championship. So I think all I've tried to do over the years, I mean, first of all, any success that I've had as a coach has been because of the players I've had. I realized that a long time ago. You know, you're only as good a coach as the players you have, and we've been fortunate to have a lot of success. But if you ask some of the other people, they'll talk about how, you know, we prepared them here for the next step. You know, teaching them how to play hard, to work hard, to play defense. So I guess that's, you know, I'd like to think that's the biggest impact you might have had on them. Oh no. This is where all, you know, I mean, people have asked me, you know, have you ever wanted to leave? And I mean, there've been a couple times over the years maybe you thought about it, but I mean, I've been here, well, it's been 29 years. I love San Jacinto. I love the Houston area, you know, and this is, I've never regretted, you know, not leaving, or this is the only place I want to coach.
From humble beginnings as a triathlete in Minnesota to coaching on the hardwood at Anders Gym, Jernander's drive and modesty have allowed him to complete his 29th year at San Jacinto College. His coaching skills have jump-started careers for players like Steve Francis and Sam Cassell. Yet his consistency to produce competitive players has enriched his aspirations to lead each team to the top. Jernander takes no credit for the success of his teams, yet he humbles himself with his passion for the game.